Hello, and thank you for tuning in. You are tuned into Esoteric Guidance, Extraterrestrial Earth Angel, and my name is Nehru. Thank you so much for tuning in, everyone. We are going to continue our journey through the Aquarian Gospel of Yeshua the Christ. This particular translation was released in 1901. Or excuse me, 1908. Okay, this particular text was released in 1908. Okay, and we will do a little backtracking and I will kind of set the stage, give a little history. Okay, so, and again, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. So, the original name is Issa. Okay, and Issa is Arabic. Okay, and Yeshua is Aramaic. Okay, and because Jesus, the name Jesus, was starting to be used in the 17th century, okay, prior to this text being translated and released in 1908, the translator, who is Miss Downing and Downing, and credit to them, uses the name Jesus, but when I read the text, I will use the name Yeshua. Okay? So we will go back in the first reading. We concluded in chapter 22, at the end of chapter 22. Okay? But we will go back because, again, I want to provide some background information about this for the second reading, and give you some preface and give you some foundational things here about their age and that sort of thing, when they began their journey, first stopping in India. Okay? And so again, thank you so much for tuning in, and my name is Nehru. Okay? So we are going to go back and we're going to read the 21st chapter, and then we will skip down to the 23rd chapter. And again, reading the 21st chapter because this is when Mary, Saint Mary, who is also an ascended master today, Saint Mary and Joseph released Yeshua at the age of at the age of 12, to go with this Brahmic priest, okay, and prince, to their land in India. Okay, and again, at this age here in chapter 21, he is 12 years old. Okay, so again, thank you so much for tuning in. I apologize for how I may move the camera. I do not currently have a stationary camera. Okay, so yes, bear with me. Okay, so again, as you can see here, this says the life and works of Yeshua in India. Again, this text will never be found in your Bible. You cannot find it between Genesis and Revelation, and there is a reason why this was removed or excluded from the books between Genesis and Revelation. Thank you so much for all of you who are tuning in, who are coming over from the Real Psychic Investigators. Thank you so much for tuning in. So we're going to go ahead and begin reading. A royal prince of India, Ravana of Orisis, in the south, was at the Jewish feast. Ravana was a man of wealth, and he was just, and with a band of Brahmic priests sought wisdom in the west. When Yeshua stood among the Jewish priests and read and spoke, Ravana heard and was amazed. And when he asked who Yeshua was, from whence he come, and what he was, Chief Hillel said, "We call this child the day star. We call this child the day star from on high, for he was come to bring to men a light, the light of life, to lighten up the way of man and to redeem his people Israel." And Hillel told Ravana all about the child, about the prophecies concerning him, about the wonders of the night when he was born, about the visit of the Magian priests, about the way in which he was protected from the wrath of evil men, about his flight to Egypt land, and how he then serving his father as a carpenter in Nazareth. And again, Yeshua is just a child at this point, 12 years old. Ravana was entranced and asked to know the way to Nazareth, that he might go and honor such a one as Son of God. And with his gorgeous train, he journeyed on the way and came to Nazareth of Galilee. He found the object of his search engaged in building dwellings for the sons of men. So Yeshua was building huts, houses with Joseph, okay, in Nazareth of Galilee. He found the object of his search engaged in the building dwellings for the sons of men. And when he saw first Yeshua, he was climbing up a 12-step ladder, and he carried in his hands a compass, square and X. Ravana said, "All hail, most favored son of heaven." And at the inn, a hotel, at the inn, Ravana made a feast for all the people of the town. And Yeshua and his parents were the honored guests. For certain days, Ravana was a guest in Joseph's home on Marmion Way. He sought to learn the secret of the wisdom of the Son, but it was all too great for him. And then he asked that he might be the patron of the child. Might take him to the east, where he could learn the wisdom of the Brahms. And this begins Yeshua's journey. And Yeshua longed to go that he might learn, and after many days his parents gave consent. So again, this confirms that the Bible is a lie in this regard. The Bible tells us that after Yeshua was found in the synagogue to be ministering, that he was restrained and confined to his parents and wasn't heard of for 18 years. That is a lie. That is a lie. Then, with proud heart, Ravana with his train began the journey toward the rising sun, and after many days they crossed the Sind and reached the province of Orissa and the palace of the prince. And again, Ravana was a prince. The Brahmic priests were glad to welcome home the prince. With favor they received the Jewish boy. And Yeshua was accepted as a pupil in the temple of Gahadanath. Jehaganath. Okay? Jehaganath. And here he learned the Vedas and the Manic laws. The Vedas and Manic laws. The Brahmic masters wondered at the clear conception of the child. Okay, so there's something about his skin, and often were amazed when he explained to them the meaning of the laws. Okay, so again, 12 years old. Okay, and now we're going to journey down to the 23rd chapter. I just again wanted to read that as a background for where we are today in the 23rd chapter. Now Yeshua with his friend Lamas went through all the regions of Orissa and the valley of the Ganges, seeking wisdom from the Sudras and the Vaisyas and the masters. And again, these are spiritual masters. Okay? Benares of the Ganges was a city rich in culture and in learning. Here, the two rabbinus tarried many days. Okay, so rabbis. And Yeshua sought to learn the Hindu art of healing. Listen. And Yeshua sought to learn the Hindu art of healing and became the pupil of Hudraka. And Udraka is the greatest of the Hindu healers. Udraka is the greatest of the Hindu healers. Udraka taught the uses of water, plant, and earth, of heart, heat, and cold, sunshine, and shade, of light and dark. So Yeshua, at the age of 12, journeyed to Egypt to learn of these things with the prince. He said, "The laws of nature are the laws of health, and he who lives according to these laws is never sick. Transgression of these laws is sin, and he who sins is sick. He who obeys the laws maintains an equilibrium in his parts, and thus ensures true harmony, and harmony is health, while discord is disease, dis-ease, disease, dis-ease, disease. That which produces harmony is all the parts of man, and all the parts of man is medicine, okay, or medicine, ensuring health. This is why it's important to ground yourself and spend time in nature. The body is a harpsichord, and when its strings are too relaxed or are too tense, the instrument is out of tune. The man is sick. Now, everything in nature has been made to meet the wants of man. Everything in nature has been made to meet the wants of man. So everything is found in medical arcanas. And when the harpsichord of man is out of tune, the vast expanse of nature may be searched for remedy. There is a cure for every ailment of the flesh. The earth Gaia provides every cure for every ailment. Yeshua just said it at 12 years old. The earth has provided every cure for every ailment. I like to say that a doctor or anyone else who has a license to write a prescription is a legal drug dealer. because the earth provides everything to heal the physical body. Of course, the will of man is remedy supreme, and by the vigorous exercise of will, man may make tense a cord that is relaxed, stress, or may relax one that is too tense, and thus may heal himself. When the man has reached the place where he has faith in God, in nature, and himself, he knows the word of power. His word is balm for every wound, is cure for all the ills of life. The healer is the man who can inspire faith. The tongue may speak to human ears, but souls are reached by souls that speak to the souls. He is the forceful man whose soul is large and who can enter into souls, inspiring hope in those who have no hope, and faith in those who have no faith in God, in nature, nor in man. There is no universal balm for those who tread the common walks of life. 1,000 things produce in harmony and make men sick. 1,000 things may tune the harpsichord, man's physical body, and make man well. That which is medicine for one is poison for another. That is the beauty of spirituality, not religion. Religion says one fits all. That is not the truth. Spirituality, you flow as you are guided. One is healed by what would kill another one. An herb may heal the one, a drink of water may restore another one. A mountain breeze may bring to life one seeming past all help. A coal of fire or a bit of earth may cure another one, and one may wash in certain streams or pools and be made whole. The virtue from the hand or breath may heal 1,000 more, but love is queen. Thought reinforced by love is God's great sovereign balm. Thought reinforced by love, someone's intentions, thought reinforced by love is God's sovereign balm. But many of the broken chords in life and discords that so vex the soul, return to sender, are cursed by evil spirits of the air that men see not, that lead men on through ignorance to break the laws of nature and of God. These powers act like demons and they speak, and they rend the man, they hinder, constrict, they drive him to despair. But he who is a healer, true, is a master of the soul, and can by force of will control these evil ones. Some spirits of the air are master spirits and are strong, too strong for human power alone. But man has helpers in the higher realms. In the esoteric, we have helpers, ancestors, spirit guides, divine beings, extraterrestrial beings, not of human form, many of which have never physically walked on this earth. But man has helpers in the higher realms, that they may be importuned, and they will help to drive the demons out. Of what this great physician said, this is the sum. And Yeshua bowed his head in recognition of the wisdom of this master and master soul and went his way. Okay, so again, this is a high Brahmic priest, the highest Brahmic priest, okay, in the land, who is teaching a 12-year-old Yeshua these alchemizing secrets and the secrets to connecting to earth and how to use water, land, the plants for healing, as earth has provided, as divine has created earth. Earth provides, Gaia provides all that the body needs to heal itself. 24th chapter. 4 years the Jewish boy abode in temple Jehoshaphat. Okay, so from the ages of 12 to 16. One day he sat among the priests and said to them, "Pray tell me about your views of castes." Okay, let me see if I can zoom in on this a little bit. Why do you say that all men are not equal in the sight of God? A master of their laws stood forth and said, "The Holy One whom we call Brahm made men to suit himself, and man should not complain. In the beginning days of human life, Brahm spoke, and 4 men stood before his face. Now, from the mouth of Abraham, the first man came, Adam, and he was white, was like the Brahm himself, a Brahmin he was called. And he was high and lifted up, above all want he stood, and he had no need to toil. Okay, so this is Adam, the first man, in the Garden of Eden. He had no want. Everything was perfect in the Garden of Eden. Everything was perfect. Okay, so we learn that Adam, that original man, was Brahmic, and he was called the priests of Brahm, the Holy One, to act for Brahm in all affairs on earth. Okay, so Adam at that time had the same authority on earth as as Most High, Eravat. The second man was red, and from the hand of the Parabrum he came, and he was called Kshatriya, and he was made to be the king, the ruler, and the warrior, whose highest ordained duty was protection of the priest. And from the inner parts of the Parabrum, the third man came, and he was called a Visya. And from the inner parts of Parabrum, the third man came, and he was called Visya. He was a yellow man, and it was to till the soil and keep the flocks and herds. And from the feet of the Parabrum, the fourth man came, and he was black, and he was called the Sudras, one of low estate. The Sudras is the servant of the race of men. He has no rights that others need respect. He may not hear the Vedas read, and it means death to him to look into the face of priests or kings, and naught but death can free him from his state of servitude. And Yeshua said, then Parabram is not a God of justice, of right, for with his own strong hand he has exalted one and brought another low. And Yeshua said, no to them, but looking up to the heaven, he said, my Father God, who was and evermore shall be, who holds within thy hands the seals of justice and of right, who in the boundlessness of love has made all men to equal be the white, the black, the yellow, and the red, can look up in thy face and say, our Father God. Thou Father of the human race, I praise thy name. And all the priests were angered by the words which Yeshua spoke. They rushed upon him and seized him, and would have done him harm. But then Lamas, Yeshua's good friend, raised his hand and said, you priests of Brahm, beware. You know not what you do. Wait till you know the God this youth adores. I have behold this boy at prayer, when light above the light of sun surrounded him. Beware. His God may be more powerful than Brahm. Indeed he is. And I just got a third eye like, And Yeshua speaks the truth. If he is right, he cannot force him to desist or be quiet. You cannot force him to be quiet. If he is wrong and you are right, your words will come to naught. For right is might, and in the end it will prevail. Confirmation dog barks. And then the priests refrained from doing Yeshua harm, but one spoke out and said, within this holy place has not this reckless youth done violence to Parabram? The law is plain. It says, he who reviles the name of Brahm shall die. Okay? So these Brahmic priests were learning something. They were learning that there was a greater power even than their Brahmic priests on the earth. Lamas pleaded for Yeshua's life, and then the priests just seized a scourge of cords and drove him from the place. And Yeshua went his way and found a shelter with the black and yellow men. Listen to this. The servants and the tillers of the soil. To them, he first made known the gospel of equality. He told them of the brotherhood of man, the fatherhood of God. The common people heard him with delight and learned to pray, our Father who art in heaven. (25th). Okay. We will stop at about an hour for those of you who are tuning in or listening to this later. When Yeshua saw the Sudras and the farmers and such multitudes draw near to hear his words, he spoke a parable to them, because he already knew, even at 16, that they could not understand the higher things. He said, "A nobleman possessed a great estate. He had 4 sons, and he would have them all grow strong by standing forth and making use of all the talents they possessed. And so he gave to each a share of his great wealth and bade them go their way. The eldest son was full of self, and he was ambitious, shrewd, and quick of thought. He said within himself, I am the oldest son, and these, my brothers, must be servants at my feet. And then he called his brothers forth, and one of them made a puppet king, gave him a sword, and charged him to defend the whole estate. To the one he gave the use of lands and flowing wells and flocks and herds, and bade him till the soil and tend the flocks and herds, and bring him the choicest of gains. Okay? So the best of your crops bring forth as an offering. And to the other one he said, You are the youngest son, your broad estate has been assigned, and have no part nor in anything that is. Hello, Queen. Thank you so much for tuning in. And then he took a chain and bound his brother to a naked rock upon a desert plain, and said to him, You have been born a slave. You have no rights. You must be contented with your lot, for there is no release for you until you die and go from hence. Now, after certain years, the day of reckoning came. The nobleman called up his sons and render their accounts. And when he saw, and when he knew that one, his eldest son, had seized the whole estate and made his brothers slaves, he seized him, tore his priest's robes away, and put him in a prison cell, where he was forced to stay until he had atoned for all his wrongs that he had done. And then, as though they were but toys, he threw in the air the throne and armor of the puppet king. He broke his sword and put him in prison, and put him in a prison cell. And then he called his farmers or farmer sons and asked him why he had not rescued from his galing chains from his brothers on the desert sands. So why didn't you go rescue your brothers? Why did you allow them to be enslaved by the eldest? And when the son made answer, not the father, and when the son made not answer, so he did not answer him, the father took unto himself the flocks and herds and the fields and flowing wells, and sent his farmer son to live out on the desert sands until he had atoned for all the wrongs that he had done. And then the father went and found his youngest son in cruel chains. With his own hands he broke the chains and bade his son to go in peace. Now, when the sons had all paid up their debts, they came again and stood before the bar of right, or judges. They all had learned their lessons, learned them well. And then the father once again divided the estate. He gave to each an equal share and bade them recognize the law of equity, equality, and right, and live in peace. And one, a Sudra, spoke and said, may we who are but slaves, who are cut down like beasts, okay, to satisfy the whims of priests, may we have hope that one will come to break our chains and set us free. And Yeshua said, the Holy One has said that all his children shall be free, and every soul is child of God. The Sudras shall be free as priests. The farmer shall walk hand in hand with king, for all the world will own the brotherhood of man. O man, arise, be conscious of your powers, spiritual consciousness, be conscious of your powers, for he who wills need not remain a slave. Out of the matrix, out of the 3D, just live as you would have your brother live. Just live as you would have your brother live. Unfold each day as does the flower. For earth is yours and heaven is yours, and God will bring you to your own. And all the people cried, show us the way, that like the flower we may unfold and come unto our own. 26th chapter. And again, thank you, those of you who are tuning in. In all the cities of Orissa, Yeshua taught. And this is in Egypt. At Katak, by the riverside, he taught, and the thousands of people followed him. One day, a car of Jagannath was hauled along by, by scores of frenzied men, and Yeshua said, behold, a form without a spirit passes by, a body with no soul, a temple with no altar fires. The car of Krishna is an empty thing. Listen to this. Look at that. Look at that. Look at that. The car of Krishna is an empty thing. Hare Krishnas. The car of Krishna is an empty thing, for Krishna is not there. The car is but an idol of a people drunk on wine of carnal things. God lives not in the noise of tongues. There is no way to him from any idol shrine. God's meeting place with man is in the heart, and in a still small voice he speaks, and he who hears is still. And all the people said, teach us to know the Holy One, who speaks within the heart, God of the still small voice. And Yeshua said, the holy breath cannot be seen with mortal eyes. It is, Queen. And Yeshua said, the holy breath cannot be seen with mortal eyes. That is the pneuma, okay? That is the pneuma. That is spelled P-N-E-U-M-A. That is the pneuma. Cannot be seen with mortal eyes, nor can man see the spirits of the Holy One. But in their image man was made, and he who looks into the face of man looks at the image of God who speaks within. And when man honors man, he honors God and or respects. And what man does for man, he does for God. So if you do evil against one another, you do evil against Most High. And you must bear in mind that when man harms in thought or word or deed another man, he does wrong to God. If you would serve the God who speaks within the heart, just serve your near of kin, and those that are no kin, the stranger at your gates, the foe who seeks to do you harm. Assist the poor and help the weak. Do harm to none and covet not what is not yours. So jealousy, avoid that. Then or covetousness. Then or envy. Divine keeps giving me words. Then with your tongue the Holy One will speak, and he will smile behind your tears, will light your countenance with joy and fill your hearts with peace. And then the people asked, to whom shall we bring gifts? Where shall we offer sacrifices? And Yeshua said, our Father God asked not for needless waste of plant, of grain, of dove, or lamb. This right here, spoken by this 16-year-old, this right here confirms all of the Old Testament and the children of Israel killing doves, slaughtering pigs, animals, goats, heifers, whatever they were doing. This confirms that all of that was just useless. Useless. That which you burn on any shrine you throw away. No blessings can attend the one who takes the food from hungry mouths to be destroyed by fire. So it would be better that you eat the meat that you are attempting to sacrifice and offer up, because in your sacrificing and offer up on burnt offerings and all of that, that is nothing to divine source. That means nothing. That doesn't help your spiritual journey. That assists you in no way. When you would offer, that's right. Wow. When you would offer sacrifice unto our God, just take your gift of grain or meat and lay it on the table of the poor. For from it an incense will arise to heaven, which will return to you blessedness. Where are we doing with time? 46 minutes. Okay. Tear down your idols. They can hear you not. Turn all your sacrificial altars into fuel for the flames. Make human hearts your altars, unconditional love, and burn your sacrifices with the fire of love. Wow. And burn your sacrifices with the fire of unconditional love. The greatest of these commandments is love. The greatest of these commandments is love. All the people were entranced and would have worshiped Yeshua as God, but Yeshua said, I am your brother man, just come to show the way to divine source, Eravat, God. You shall not worship man, praise divine source, the Holy One. The fame of Yeshua as a teacher spread throughout all the land. And again, he was a teenager at this time, a teenager. He traveled to Egypt at the age of 12, and he stayed there for 4 years. And then he went on to teach in Katak, Katak. And at Bahar, on the sacred river of the Brahms, he taught for many days. And Ak, a wealthy man of Bahar, made a feast in honor of his guest, and he invited everyone to come. And many came, among them thieves, extortioners, gang stalkers. Again, there's nothing new under the sun. The same karmic asses that have come against you today in 2025, 2021, 2020, 2000, 95, 98, 68, the same karmic spirit is the same karmic spirit. Let me find my place again here. Okay, and many came, among them thieves, extortioners, and courtesans. I'm not sure I'm saying that correctly. And Yeshua sat with them and taught. But they who followed him were much aggrieved because he sat with thieves and counterfeits. Yes, okay. So he was teaching even those karmics. And they upbraided him. They said, Rabboni, master of the wise, this day will be an evil day for you. The news will spread that you consort with counterfeits and thieves, and men will shun you as they shun an asp. Here comes another lesson. And Yeshua answered them and said, A master never screens himself for sake of reputation or fame. These are but worthless baubles of the day. They rise and sink like empty bottles on a stream. They are illusions and will pass away. They are the indices to what the thoughtless think. They are the noise that people make. And shallow men judge merit by the noise. Shallow men judge merit by the noise. Okay? So, oh wow, you got 9 million subscribers. You must be telling the truth. Oh wow, you on stage. You got a microphone. You must be telling the truth. Ooh, you a minister? Ooh, you a pastor? Ooh, you must be, mega church, Creflo Dollar. Ooh, mega church, Kenneth Copeland. Ooh, you must be telling the truth if you got all these people following you. Yeah, but it's noise. God and all master men judge men by what they are and not by what they seem to be. Woo-wee. Not by their reputation and their fame. These counterfeits and thieves are children of my Father God. Their souls are just as precious in his sight as yours, or of the Brahmic priests. And they are working out the same life sums that you. So again, we're all working out our life, right? We're all working out this journey, journeying through it, our spirituality, whatever that is. We're all journeying through it together to become our highest, purest, truest self. And they are working out the same life sums that you, who pride yourselves on your respectable and moral worth and working out, or are working out. And some of them have solved much harder sums than you have solved. So some of them have been through much more karmic things than you. Okay? I'm reminded of something that Robin Williams said once, the actor. Robin Williams said, always be respectful of those you come in contact with because you really do not know what they're going through. And this is an actor who in that lifetime took themselves out. Always be kind to the strangers that you meet because you really do not know the journey that they've been through or that they're currently going through. Robin Williams said that. And some of them have solved much harder sums than you have solved, you men who look at them with scorn. Yes, they are sinners and confess their guilt, while you are guilty but are shrewd enough to have, or pompous enough to have, a polished coat to cover up your guilt. And again, to me, this speaks to past and present United States presidential administrations, okay, that hold themselves in this highfalutin energy, okay, and do things to protect themselves from judgment, but then they will speak that same judgment against you and condemn you. Interesting. Suppose you men who scorn these countenances, these drunkards, and these thieves, who know that you are pure in heart and life, that you are better, yes, far than they, stand forth that men may know just who you are. So don't try to hide behind the cloaks. Don't try to hide behind the titles, President of the United States, Director of the FBI, Director of the CIA, Director of the DEA. Do not hide behind you being a lawyer, you being a judge, you being a politician, a governor, a mayor. Do not hide behind your riches, Elon Musk. Do not hide behind your riches. Show your true colors, just like the rest of us. Then sin lies in the wish, in the desire, not in the act. You covet other people's wealth. You look at charming forms, and deep within your hearts, you are lust for them. You lust for them. Deceit you practice every day. Deceit you practice every day, and wish for gold. For honor and fame, just for your selfish selves. Why does the government, whatever government you are living in now and a part of or under, why do they seek to do these things? It is for fame and just for selfish reasons. The man who covets is a thief, and she who lusts is counterfeit. You who are none of these, speak out. Let the one who is without sin cast the first stone. You who are none of these, speak out. Nobody spoke because they're all guilty. The accusers held their peace, and Yeshua said, the proof this day is all against those who have accused. The pure in heart do not accuse. The vile in heart, who want to cover up their guilt with holy smoke of piety, are ever loathing, drunkard, thief, and counterfeit. This loathing and this scorn is mockery. For if the tinseled coat of reputation could be torn away, the loud professor would be found. to reveal in his lust, deceit, and many forms of secret sin. Man, I wish we could uncover and see through the spirit and then through the 3D the demonic spirits that are elected officials. I wish, I hope, I desire for the day when we, through our third eye and through the natural, we can see the demon, dark, demonic energy that continues to wear a cloak, pronouncing peace, and yet they are covetous, deceitful, all for fame and self-gain. I wish for the day. I wish for the day. Verse 24. The man who spends his time in pulling others people's weeds can have no time to pull his own. And all the choicest flowers of life will soon be choked and die. So while someone is sitting there pointing a finger, okay, I once heard that you point a finger at one person, there's 4 more fingers pointing back at you. All the choicest flowers in that individual's life, they are soon choked out and die. And nothing will remain, okay, but darnel, thistles, burrs. Burrs are those prickly things that get stuck on your clothes when you walk through weeds. That's what burrs are. Those little prickly, stickly things, okay? And Yeshua spoke a parable and he said, behold, a farmer had great fields of ripened grain, and when he had looked, he saw that the blades of many stalks of wheat were bent and broken down. And when he sent his reapers forth, he said, we will not save the stalks of wheat that have the broken blades. Go forth and cut and burn the stalks with broken blades. And after many days, he went to measure up his grains, but not a kernel could be found, or could he find. And then he called the harvesters and said to them, where is my grain? The farmer is asking. They said, or answered him and said, we did according to your word. We gathered up and burned the stalks with broken blades, and not a stalks left to carry to the barn. And Yeshua said, if God saves only those who have broken blades, who have been perfect, who have no broken blades, who have been perfect in his sight, who will be saved? Again, he who is without sin, cast the first stone. This is why on the Real Psychic Investigators and on this channel, this is why I share my journals, my ups and downs, the dark night of the soul, my ascensions. This is why I share with you the day that I cussed out Yeshua or Yahweh, divine source, okay? And they corrected me. This is why I share with you how I took all of those pills, but yet divine source alchemized that and it did not take me out. I share the dark journeys of me, dark parts of me, okay? Because I want you to know that in the human form, I have not by far been a perfect being. I share these things with you for that reason. Do not hold me on a pedestal, okay? I am just as you, on the same journey, just as Yeshua spoke of, okay? We're all on this journey together, he said. Don't worship me, he said. Worship the Father, Eravat, Most High. Don't look at me. And Yeshua said, If God saves only those who have no broken blades, who have been perfect in his sight, who will be saved? And the accusers hung their heads in shame, and Yeshua went his way. Okay, and we will go ahead and stop it there. Again, thank you so much for tuning in. We are reading the very rarely known, very rarely heard of, okay, the Aquarian Gospel of Issa the Christ. At this point, it hasn't mentioned an age in a little while, but he is somewhere between 16 and 18 probably when he is teaching these lessons. Okay, again, first through Egypt, then to Katak and sojourn, now in Bahar, and now teaching truths in Bahar. Again, this is the lie that was hidden from you between Genesis and Revelation when it speaks of Yeshua being subject to his mother and father and not being heard of until he was 30. That is a flat out lie. That is a flat out lie. Okay? So, thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. Queen, I see that you are the only one who's been commenting. Thank you so much for tuning in. Any of you who've come over from the Real Psychic Investigators to tune in to this or listen to this at some point down the road, thank you so much for all that you do. Again, Esoteric Guidance, Extraterrestrial Earth Angel. This is the original channel I created on YouTube. This is also the Shadow Band channel on YouTube. I encourage you to go to the playlist and look at the playlist. Select anything on there that you are divinely guided to, okay? Typically, I do a reading every 12 hours to every 24 hours. And so on the Real Psychic Investigators, typically I do a live between 8 and 10 o'clock in the morning and 8 and 10 o'clock in the evening, Eastern Standard Time, US, typically. Tonight is an exception because for Sunday morning service, this morning is an exception, I guess, because Sunday morning I was guided to do this and to continue this. So today, this morning is an exception. Typically, right now about this time, I would be on a live, okay, on the Real Psychic Investigators, okay? Thank you so much. That's a very good question, Queen. I'm sure there are others who would want to know that as well. So the next time that I go live on the Real Psychic Investigators, okay, your time, Eastern Standard Time in the US, will be somewhere between 8 o'clock in this Sunday evening and 10 o'clock Sunday evening will be the next time that I go live over there, unless divine guides otherwise, which I don't suspect that they are. Okay? Thank you so much, everyone, for tuning in. My name is Nehru. I am an extraterrestrial earth angel, born on the 333rd day of the year. I am a Master Builder 33. My main focus, I want to say sole purpose, my focus is to be that Master Builder 33, and that is a Master Teacher. Thank you so much for tuning in. Thank you, Queen. Have an awesome day. Enjoy your day as well. As always, be encouraged.